Any questions on anything? Okay. So there's no class on Friday, which means you don't have a group assignment. Next week's the exam. So the outline will go up on this weekend and the take home will be up there and it'll be due next Sunday. The in-person portion is next Friday. That's it. Any questions? Okay, chapter 10, homework. Oops, I'm trying. Jimmy John went shopping on Black Friday and charged $2,500 on his new Visa credit card, which had a zero balance before the charge. The Visa has a monthly periodic rate of 1.8%. How would we find the annual rate? Since it's monthly, that's 12 times in a year, so you just take the 1.8, multiply by 12. 21.6% annual rate. So it's not taking into the compounding, it's just making the rate annual. Any questions? When the bill comes in December, he decides to make monthly payments of $400 for December, January, and February. Then he will see what he owes and maybe try to pay it off. Fill in the table below. Round to the nearest cent. Remember, monthly rate was 1.8. So when you have a credit card and you charge $2,500, the interest is zero the first month. So if you paid the $2,500 off, then you wouldn't owe any interest. So in January, when the balance comes, there would be no interest added on. The only thing that would happen is whatever payment you made, which in this case was $400, that would come off. So it would be $2,500 minus the $400. The interest is zero, so we didn't need to add it. That means his 1.8% monthly rate, the balance that is left, $2,100, that's what you pay the interest on. So it's not on the whole thing. It's only on whatever balance was left in January. Remember, the 1.8% needs to be written as a decimal. Divide it by 100 or move it to the left 2. So you get 3780. Go ahead and do the next two if you haven't already. So there will be one on the exam, either similar to this one or the savings account. I won't put both. Does anyone want to say the balance in February? So we take our 2,100 plus the interest, so the 3780, and we subtract our $400 payment. So we get 1737. The biggest thing that happens is rounding error, so be careful of that. And show all your work, so then if it is a rounding error, I know what you did. The interest, you only pay it on that February balance, 1737. So did you get 3128? That means in March, we take that 1737 plus the interest 3128, and he made a $400 payment, so we subtract that. 1369. I'll get the attendance sheet. The interest is only on that March balance of 1369. So it's 2464. Any questions on that? What would he need to pay in March to pay the total amount off? So if we want to know what he'd have to pay in March, how would we find that? Anyone?
March.
Yep. So in March, when a statement comes, it will say remaining balance 1369.08 plus 2464 interest. If you pay the both, then you're not charged any more interest. So he would need 1393. Any questions on that? How do we find how much he paid in interest? Add up the interest column. So you get 9372. Always double check my work because Monday's class, the one that was 2626 was actually 2625. I typed it wrong. I mean, everything else I did with the 2625, but it was not 2626, it was 2625. But my co-rec class caught it. Any questions on that? So everyone's good if it's on the exam. Now this one's the savings account, so it's one of the two are on the exam. I won't put both, because if you could do one, you can do the other. You decide that you need a down payment when you buy a home, so you're going to put $200 into a savings account every month with a 7.2% monthly rate. Show the first 6 periods in the table below and answer the questions that follow. And when you have a savings account, you make interest as soon as you put that money in there, because as soon as you put the money in there, they start using it. So unlike the credit card where you don't have interest in the first statement, this one you do. So you have to take your $200 and 7.2% written as a decimal is what? Anyone? 0.072. So we multiply that times the 200 because we want 7.2% of 200, which means to multiply. And we make $14.40 in interest. I don't think you can get a savings account with that rate, but right now loans are in the 7 to 9% range. As long as you're using like your house for collateral, otherwise it's 10%. But interest, you're lucky if you get a whole percent. Any questions on the 1440? So that means your balance was 200, you made 1440 in interest, and you're putting another $200. So you have your $200 that was there. So this first 200 is from the balance. And then the interest, and then another deposit of $200. So there's $414.40 in your account that month, and you make interest on all of that. Because this balance is at the beginning of the statement, so you make interest on it. If we were in business, we look at if you put it at the beginning, if you put it at the end, there's different things, but we are assuming it's all put at the beginning. We're only at 29.84. So then the next one, you have your balance, 414, plus your interest, plus the $200 deposit, gives you 644.24. Now make sure you show your work. I want to see the work. And when you go to look at where those numbers came from, you want to know where they came from. So how much interest is there in the third period? Anyone?
$46.39.
Is that what everyone got? 46.39. So we take the balance for the third period, 644, and multiply by our rate, written as a decimal, and you get 46.39. Go ahead and do the next three. We're getting 890 some.
Yes.
Because we take the 644 balance plus the interest, and we're depositing $200, $890.63. That's at the beginning, so you get interest on all of that. You get $64.13. Anyone want to say what they got for the fifth? Go ahead.
The balance is 1,154. Interest is 23.
So what we did was we took the 890 plus the 6413, added our $200, and got $1,154. Now on the exam, you'll only have to do 3 rows, because if you can do 2 or 3 rows, you can do 6 of them. I just wanted you to have more practice. Any questions? Does anyone else want to say the last balance? Go ahead.
For the balance, 1,437.90 cents. Interest would be, give me 2 seconds. $103.53.
Yeah, $103.53, exactly. So what we did was we took the $1,154, we added the interest plus the $200 deposit, and that gave us $1,437. And then you make interest on the $1,437, multiply by 0.072, you get 103. Any questions on that? So in half a year, because this would be 6 months, how much is in the account? How do we find out how much is in the account? Anyone? Well, when your statement comes, it's going to say previous balance 1437.90 plus interest of 103.53. If you add those together, that's how much is in the account. Any questions? I think there's another question, yeah. How much was contributed? How much did you put into the account? Well, we put 200 every month, 6 months. $1,200. So each month we put the 200 in. And there were 6 of them, so $1,200. How much was interest? What do we add up? Add the interest column. Any questions? So make sure you're showing your work. Either this one or the other one's on the exam. Any questions? You're buying a home for $250,000 and taking a loan on the entire amount. If annual interest rate is 4.5%, find the payments and answer the questions that follow. On the exam, the payment formula will be given. P is the amount of the loan, and we didn't put anything down, so we're assuming 250,000. R is your rate as a decimal, and Y is the number of years. You right, Ryan? I didn't put the number of years.
No, on the homework it says,
It says 30, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't, I don't know, but it's 30 years. Home loans are usually 15 or 30. Please plug it into your calculator. Make sure you're getting the right answers. I will not help you during the exam. I'm plugging it. Should be ending 1266. Not, try it again. I think I missed type it. Everyone getting 1266 and 71 cents. Any questions? To find total contributions, remember it's your payments, so the 1266, it's multiplied by 12 because the payments are monthly, and then times the number of years. And that is the total amount that you're paying for the house. So total contributions the 1266.71 times 12 times 30, $456,000 you're paying for that. Any questions on that?
So R is the, just, R equals the annual interest rate,
Yes.
okay? The E is the original payment, and Y is the,
The what?
the Y equals the 90.
Number of years.
Okay, yeah, let me just fill it all.
Yeah, so P is whatever the loan is. So if we made a payment, then you would subtract that first. But P is whatever you're taking the loan for. R is the percent as a decimal. And it is an annual rate, that's why we're dividing by 12. And Y is the number of years. Did everyone get 1266? Please tell me now if you didn't. All right, if we're paying $456,000 for this house, how much interest did we pay? Think about it, if you're paying, and the formulas, these two will not be given. You have to know how to find contributions and interest. But if we're paying $456,000 for the house and it was only $250,000, if we subtract them, we paid $206,000 in interest. Enough to buy another house. I was looking at a home equity line of credit, and right now, this is only 4.5. The home equity line of credit start at 7% right. Any questions? So the biggest thing is being able to plug that into your calculator. Oh wait, I don't think I said it. When you're doing this exponent, the negative 12 times 30, I recommend multiply it first. And remember, this is a negative sign, not a minus sign like this one. So you have to hit the negative sign in your calculator, or you will get an error. Formulas for effective rate are these two. The first one is a compounding amount. Second one is compounded continuously. So you don't need to know R is their rate, written as a decimal, and C is how many times it's compounded in 1 year. When it's compounded continuously, we don't need the C, it's just E to the R. E is a function in your calculator where your LN button is. So the first one, 5.3% compounded monthly. Because it's a compounded amount, it uses the first formula, 1 plus R over C to the C, and then the minus 1 is not in the exponent. So go ahead and plug it in. I don't know if I said what to round it to. Round to the 100th. I wrote it, but I don't know if I have it on. Now you want to round the percent to the 100th. Remember, when you're getting this value, it's a decimal. So when we plugged it in, you should get something close to 0.053. It'll be close to that, but it'll be a little bit larger. So 0.054306. Now, before you round it, you want to make it a percent first, and then I don't know. Did it say on the homework to round to the hundredth, or it didn't say? So it's up to you what you rounded to if it doesn't say, but I like to round to the hundredth so that they're different, because notice, well, it would still be different in this case. Anyways, when you are rounding, make sure you make it a percent first, multiply by 100 or move your decimal over 2 and then round. Whenever you're not sure, leave the whole thing. On the test, I would probably say round everything to the hundredth, so then I know money is getting rounded to the cents and I don't have to worry about it. I usually put that at the top. But are you getting 5.43%? Okay, go ahead and find 5.3 compounded quarterly. First one was monthly, which we knew was 12 a year. Quarterly, what would C be? Anyone? Quarterly is how many times in a year? I see fingers, so some people are saying 4. Yes, think of 4 quarters in $1. That will help you remember it. But quarterly is 4, so C would be 4. Again, it should be close to the 5.3, but a little bit larger. Round the percent 2 decimal places. We're getting 0.054067. Make it a percent and then round it. And it makes sense that this one here, the quarterly, is a little smaller than the monthly because you're making more interest. You're doing it 12 times a year instead of only 4. Everyone getting 5.41 if you go 2 decimal places. 5.3 compounded continuously. Compounding continuously uses the E to the R. E is where your LN button is in your calculator. Make sure, depending on how it shows, go to mark. Now, when you hit, you'd have to hit Shift and LN. You should get E with a caret and a parenthesis. You'd put in 0.053, close the parenthesis before you subtract 1. Or if your calculator just puts it right up in the exponent, put your 0.053, come back down and subtract the 1. Still should be a little bit larger than the 5.3. Writing it as a percent, 5.44. Any questions on that? Is everyone getting those values? Maybe. Oh, that was it. Wow. Any questions on any of them? Any questions? Okay. I have a question. So I've been told that I could have a group project and a presentation instead of a final. What do you think?
Yep,
Yep.
let's do that.
I think it'd be, I've never done a group project before because I hate group projects.
I see that.
Simply because, you know, you always have that one person that falls out of the loop. Did you have a question?
I see that.
Oh, you need it. You always have that, you know, the one person that never does anything. So what I was thinking is you'll get into groups. You can use the same groups you always do. And, look on the internet for a company that's been around at least 10 years. And then each person picks a different chapter and makes up a problem from it. So use the data from the company. Like, I don't know, say you took Chick-fil-A and then you found, I don't know, the best thing there is the chicken nuggets probably. How many chicken nuggets does it take to get to the top of the Eiffel Tower? You know, so different things that we used. How much money did they bring? So then how much did they pay in taxes? And each person picks a chapter and does like 4 slides on it for a PowerPoint. And then you just present it the last week of classes and finals week. Does that sound? That way then if someone, they have to do something because they have a chapter. They don't do it, then they get a 0. But then it doesn't lean on you. Because that's the biggest thing. If you do want to do it yourself, then it's going to be a lot more work because you need to do more than one chapter. Right now I have it marked as 6. I don't know. That might be a lot, but you know, I don't want you doing it by yourself, so kind of forces you to do it with someone. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Anyone completely against it? Okay, I'm excited because I've never done a group project. But you will have to present it. If you don't present it, you lose 10 points. Okay, I'm still writing it up, but as soon as I get it finished, I'll send that out, so you know. And I was hoping maybe Wednesday, because next Wednesday, we would be working on the take-home portion of the exam, which isn't going to be very many problems. So then maybe you could also get in your groups and talk about it. Because then we have the test and then we have Thanksgiving. I want to get you together before that. Okay, well, have a nice long weekend. I won't see you until Monday. If you have any questions on anything, please see me.
Thank you.
Attendance is up here if you didn't get it.
You take that. Thank you.
I'm